Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of Vet Tech Savvy. My name is Katie and I'm one of the veterinary technicians here at Mystic Aquarium. Today we're going to be talking about some of the tools that we use during a physical exam. The goal of a physical exam is to assess the health of an animal inside and out and from head to toe. So we have a lot of different tools that we use to help us answer that question. One of the ways that we can assess the health of an animal is by monitoring weight trends. For smaller animals, we have different types of scales, very small scales for very small animals so we can get a very fine measurement of their weight. We also have baby scales for slightly larger animals, and we have even bigger floor scales for some of our really big animals. We also like to assess inside of an animal's mouth to assess the tissue health and make sure that there aren't any signs of illness or injury. Not all of our animals will say ah if we ask them to, so sometimes we need to use different types of tools to help us get a peek in there. So some of the things that we use might be a little surprising. This is actually a nail pick that we can use to help open really teeny tiny mouths. And these are just different types of rubber spatulas that you may use in your kitchen. These are really great ways to help us look inside of an animal's mouth and be very gentle to the tissues there while we're taking a look. We also like to look at eyes to assess the structures of the eye and see how their eyes are. We have a lot of different tools that we can use to assess that. This is an ophthalmoscope, which you may recognize from when you go and get your checkups at the doctor. This is called a transilluminator, which we can use as well. And this is a slit lamp. We also like to make sure that we are listening to heart and lungs of our animal patients. One of the ways that we do that is by using a stethoscope. This is our regular size stethoscope, which probably looks familiar from your trips to the doctor. This is a pediatric stethoscope, which has a smaller bell on the end, which we can use for some of our smaller animals like our penguins. And some of our animals that have shells or really dense scales, like some of our turtles and other reptiles, we will actually use a Doppler so that we can listen to their heart rate, because a stethoscope, we are not able to listen to their heart with their scales and their shell. We also like to assess an animal's health looking at the inside to assess organ function and bone health. One of the ways that we do that is by collecting a blood sample. Depending on the type of animal that we're using, their size, their species, things of that nature, will determine how we collect that blood sample. Sometimes we will use a needle type called a butterfly that looks like this. Some of our smaller patients will need to use very small needles, like this little one right here. Or some of our larger patients, we may need to use longer or bigger diameter needles, like this one right here. And depending on how much sample we're able to get from an animal, we may just have a very small amount, like this tube, which has less than half of a mil that it will hold, all the way up to this size, which can hold up to 10 mils. We also will use imaging modalities to assess the inside of an animal. We can use things like ultrasound or CT imaging. One of the really common things that we use is radiographs or x-rays. We can use our larger generator size, which is kind of the most common example that people think of. This is a dental radiograph gun that we can use to assess dental imaging in our animals, but we can also use it to take whole body images of some of our very small patients, like our newts, frogs, or even some of our small turtles, that we can get really good image quality without using quite as much radiation. Because we have such a wide variety of animals here that we provide care for at Mystic Aquarium, from sea urchins all the way up to beluga whales, this is just a small taste of some of the tool types that we would use during an exam. Let's go see a physical exam in the field and check it out. So we are here in our vet hospital with our spotted turtles, where they are going to be receiving their annual physical exam. Thanks for watching this episode of Vet Tech Savvy. Check out our YouTube channel to see our previous episodes. Be sure to hit subscribe and that notification bell to be notified of future episodes as they come out.